Testing, 1, 2, testing, and we're back with the FIFA Fun Day discussions. Last episode we spoke about pace, the penultimate, the demon of a stat that is pace. And this time I think we're going to go on to the overview of shooting and how that's in the game, what we think about it, what's changed, how it used to be, what you can and can't do. And I think we need to win. So we need to win. Let's get this wobbly doubly while talking about this. Oh, this is a fast team. Right, on to the next one. So shooting. The shooting tree, should we call it? The shooting tree is split up into loads of different categories, a lot more than the pace one. Pace just had top speed and acceleration. We've got attack speed, attack positioning, finishing, shot power, long shots. Oh, that was poor. Shot power, long shots, penalties, and volleys. Now, the overall stat can really be affected by low areas. So you could have a really good player that has only 79 finishing, and that is purely because if the player has poor penalties or poor volleys, the overall stat will then go down. That was risque. 2 of those, the overall stat will go down. And I think if the stat goes down, some players might not get a look in, but their finishing may well be in the high 90s, high 80s. I remember, this is just on memory's sake, I used Gianpaolo Pazzini, I think it was 2 FIFAs ago, and his shooting was quite low, I think, as a stat. But his finishing was like 85, 86, and he was finishing a lot. So obviously he's that poacher type of player in real life anyway. But yeah, let's just filter through. In my opinion, the types of shooting in this game, you've got volleys, obviously. You've got the cut across goal. You've got the near post. A lot of the time, I like going near post. Near post is very good, in my opinion. It gives you an option for those people that move their keeper a lot. Because as you go higher up, foot champs and higher divisions, it tends to translate to tends to translate that a lot of people, as you go up, exploit the good tactics, and one of them is moving the keeper. So near post shots in that regard are very, very good, because I feel like they have a high success rate as long as you don't drag it too far. Oh no, I've messed up, boys. Oh, he's messed up. He's ruined it. Yeah. So, for whatever reason, they had a high success rate. It might be with the positioning of the goalkeeper. I don't know, because the goalkeeper has to cover as much of the goal as possible. You put that power in and you put your head down and you welly it, that's going in my opinion and in my experience. However, you've got finesse shots. Finesse shots are very hit and miss. These the outside of the box ones do not work as consistently, I found, as they used to do. It's just, it is what it is. I think the way the mechanics always work, and they change every year, something has to give. I think last year or the year before, FIFA 19, long shots were the one. You could shoot from anywhere around that box, and there was a technique where you literally you want to run at a diagonal angle towards the goal, and then you cut across it, and for some reason that added loads of damn dip. What? It added loads of dip, and I was very confused, but it was very consistent, and I think it worked quite well. In this game, however, this year, long shots are iffy. I haven't tried too many. They're a lot straighter than I would have thought they would be, because historically all the long shots have dipped. They always dip. They're very zingy. They're quite straight. So if you get that angle to cut across it, and you know where the positioning of the goalie is, by all means do it. I think that's your highest success rate. Near post long shots aren't that great, and obviously straight at the goal, you know, it's just always going to parry that. Finesse, in my opinion, this year is probably the most one-on-one is the most consistent to score, most consistent. You kind of want to do that on the outside, on your strong foot. If you do it on your weak foot, it will fluff, unless you have players like Son with 5-star weak foot and stuff like that. It has a really high success rate. If you're one-on-one, you have to obviously time it, but you want to open up your body, and you also want to hold the stick as far away from that position as you're doing as possible, because he scores. Yes. Mid-range finesse shots are very hit and miss, and that is where the finishing stat comes in handy, I believe. Is on historically has always been on finesse shots. I've always, you know, attributed high. Okay, this guy's got high finishing, he's gonna finesse it. The finishing is how accurate and how sensitive your toggle stick is going to be. The lower the finishing, and let's say you whack the stick all the way to the right, yeah, and you're gonna cut across it, the more sort of like inconsistencies you're gonna have with your shot, it probably drag it wide a lot more. But the higher the finishing is, if you whack that stick all the way to the other side, then it might not be affected as much. I think you're gonna be closer on the inside of the post rather than closer to missing. Come on, let's get this in. Let's get this in. No. See, that's a good example of a near post shot where I've dragged, but my angle is all wrong. I'm running straight at the post. In my opinion, you don't want to be doing that. You want to put it on your stronger foot, and then just try and have a stride where you're running at a different angle, then sort of step in, so you've created that space on moving the goalkeeper. Oi! The whippage! The whippage, Lukes! There we go, look, that's a good example of a finesse shot, and that's a mid-range finesse shot, and it just whipskis because I slapped the stick all the way to the right-hand side, and his finishing's quite high now that he's got Hunter on. He's a little bit faster, so he can get that space on the touch, and yeah, just whipskis it in. It's all good. It's just learning the shooting mechanics every year. They're always going to be different. Like I said, long shots were mad. Oh! That is what I like to see. Just the intricate feet. My man. Yeah, boys. Yeah, boys. Come on. My heart. I don't know if I can take this. Anyway, right. So we spoke about near post predominantly. I think that's quite consistent depending on your shooting stats. Obviously, the higher the finishing, I think it's going to be more sensitive. I say more sensitive. It might even be less sensitive in the sense that the higher the shooting stat, the higher the finishing stat for yourself, it doesn't drag the ball as much. It's more on target, but on the right side of the post. The lower the finishing stat, it'll be closer to the outside of the post. Finesse, we've sort of touched on. Just to recap, I think close range one-on-ones, as long as you're opening up the body and you're pushing the stick and you'll run further outside, I think you're Gucci. Mid-range, I believe it depends on the angle that you receive it. There's always this sweet spot angle that I'm always tempted to take the shot from, but never ever straight on, because it gives you no space, and you're not, the angle for the whippage is never going to be enough for you to be able to run that in at an open angle, you know. Oh, see, he's got poor finishing, and I cut all the way across that, and I missed. Valverde's not that great at finishing. He might have decent shooting. He will score the goals where you need him to, like tap them in, you know, the normal ones. But yeah, this is what I was going to touch on next. So short range or mid-range finesse shots, as long as you have that open angle and that sweet spot of a run that you're taking at goal, it sort of helps that with pace, a lot of it allows you to create that space. It allows you to sprint forward that one stride and give you the space for that angle of a shot. Long range, it's very inconsistent. It's not consistent as it used to be. So that's long range, and yeah, it wasn't consistent. But inside of the box now, there is a perfect sweet spot. But on the edge of that 6-yard box, if you're running in from the wing, particularly cutting across the ball, mad OP, I'm telling you now. He might be doing it here, yeah, that. So he was going further out to the post. If you're running towards the goal and that cut across and you've got someone who's got high finishing, then, mate, you're laughing, because that's going to go in 9 times out of 10. Yeah, there, see, that is the perfect run angle that he had, and he slapped it and it hit the post, and that was me done. I was dead out in water. So yeah, there we go. Look, perfect example of the sweet spot. Close enough to draw the keeper to go to you, but the keeper just falls on the floor. I mean, it might change with different keepers. I don't know. You always want to have maybe a stride or half a stride on something to give yourself the good run up, so it's not bobbling, and you know you're not going to risk hitting the ball away. Alas, 2-0 down. Let's try and bring this back. The sharp shot. Let's get that key. Let's get the shutters down. Let's get the tills open so it could get stolen. Nah. Yes. Absolute poo-poo. Straight on doo-doo. Come on. Yeah, of course. Of course. Oh, this guy, man, he's starting to piss me off. That's it. That is the long range finesse we're talking about. See, it had the angle. That is the angle. You're running along the line, making that space for yourself that you can whip it as far out as possible, with a higher chance of it getting on the inside of the post. That is literally all it is. Yeah, move him again. Oh, I'm so annoyed. I'm so annoyed at myself, man. I've let this guy win. I've literally let this guy win. Help. Let's check who's going to get damaged now. Oh, Ronaldinho. Oh, my heart. Right, so we've touched on finesse shots, near post shots, shots that you cut across, somewhat long shots. See, long shots is the grey area for me. I feel like they just go straight, they zing, they don't dip, and the dip is what you want to beat the keeper. A lot of the time that they can keep up with the pace of the ball, because I do actually genuinely think the keepers are better this year. So the next type of shooting I want to touch on is a sweet spot, cut across it. Beautiful, my G. Okay, you know, my G, you're a bit on the cusp of doing my head in, but you know, he's getting the goals, he's trying to get his name out there. But yeah, the type of shot I want to touch on now is volleys. Volleys are an interesting thing in this game. Particularly this year. There you go, an example of a volley, although it's not exactly what I was trying to say. The example being, the volleys dip so much this year, and I don't even think you necessarily need high volleys for it to be a deadly shot. I mean you do, because it allows for the difference of shot again, where you pull the stick, and if you're gonna as far out as you can, then the higher the volleys is, the more accurate it will be on the inside of the post if you want to go for the cut acrosses. Now they dip so much, so a lot of people a good tactic actually is to do a rainbow flick. Now, one, the rainbow flick beats the runner that you're running at regardless anyway. I think more so for the pros than it does for the computer. Like if you were to do it in pro clubs, the NE will probably oh, he's just going to do the same thing, isn't he? You've got such a cool team and that happens. No. Yeah, so one, that'll beat him, but the volley follow-up will dip so much that it just does the keeper in, honestly. As long as you're cutting across it, again, I do believe cutting across the ball is the best way to go. You don't really need high volleys. I think everyone will make a decent connection to it, but the dip is what you want. So if that's something that you're looking at doing, if you like volleys, I remember, I think it's FIFA 18, or the year that Peter Crouch scored that really good goal against Joe Hart, that volley where he just flicked it up and just done him dirty. Ever since then, I used to buy Peter Crouch, have him in the squad, do the triple flick on the stick. I don't know, I think it's changed now, and then you just whack it and it'd always be a really good shot. So if that's something that you like doing, then by all means I think volley's the way to go this year for you type of players in particular. But generally there's nothing OP and there's nothing underpowered, and that is the beauty of this. Volleys is a really satisfying type of goal, especially if you add it on top of a skill move. And now heading on the Swede heading. I do think heading is a lot better this year, but that isn't really attributed to how good heading is per se. It's more crosses. Crosses are so good this year. Even if you're doo-doo at doing them last year or any year before, it gives you the consistency of crosses is quite high. All you really need to do, again, is the same as a shot, is hold the stick out if you want to do an early cross. Early crosses are the way forward. But heading itself is really good purely because of the crossing. I don't think the heading is inconsistent. Nowhere near as bad as last year. You couldn't get any Swede on anything. This year, it is somewhat consistent, but it drags a lot. What's he doing? The ball drags a lot. If you want to go to the back post, it's really sensitive, and I think that's irrespective having high heading accuracy. It's a viable option, and I think that goes there. You go, cut across it. If you want any players with the Swede to go for the headers, then early crossing is the one for you. It is so good in the sense of making space. Damn, man, I'm getting violated, fully violated, because it more or less beats the defender, and that actually allows further that your defenders that bomb forward, they tend to be quite short, or wingers, they can get their head on it or get a volley off. You know, it's a joy to see this year, if I'm honest with you. So heading's purely only good for the crossing side of things. The heading itself is quite inconsistent, even with higher heading accuracy. So it is what it is. Oh. This guy has got me on bread, like literally on bread. He's making paninis out of that. That's mad. I wouldn't even say mad. This is probably one of the better defensive players I've played against, and yeah, I mean, I can't do anything about that. This, in terms of types of shooting, I think that's quite good that we've covered all of them. The finesses, the long shots, the cut across, you know, the in the box maneuverability that you have, the sweet spots on the 6-yard box, heading and volleys, and on reflection of everything, I think it is really, really balanced. I really do think everything is balanced this year. The only thing I'd probably say that's got hit, like I said earlier, is the long shots. You can't really do them they're not as nice, basically. I remember the days where there was net tension, and that is the thing I miss, because when you smash that ball, it just bounces out and goes back to the halfway line after you've scored a goal. It's so satisfying. The sweet spot, bang, in the goal. Oh, but everything's balanced. Shooting wise, I think everything is really balanced. I mean, penalties, there's not really much to say on penalties. I think the higher the stat, the smaller the margin of error is on your shot. So it does make it easier. But I mean, if you just tap the ball, tap shoot button anyway, I think you're sorted. You're not really at a detriment, because it's just a chance game, isn't it, really, if the goalie saves it or if they don't. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, I'm a sucker for a long shot, but if I don't get it, then I don't get it. So he knows, he's reading everything. I'm the hungry caterpillar now. I'm like so basic to this guy, but this has depressed me. This has made me think I'm awful at the game. I thought I was getting better. Damn. Oh, mate, that was rough. I mean, obviously the gameplay was just in the back. The main part of it was the discussion. But I mean, I need to pick up the pieces of my soul after that crushing, man. That was awful. But yeah, I mean, shooting in itself this year, like I said, is quite consistent. If there's type of things that you like, volleys are very good this year. Crossing is very good this year. That helps heading. And yeah, a lot of finesse shots are pretty much the way to go if you want to confirm something, depending on the angles that you're on. Power, just raw power, if you go near post, I think you're happy days. Just long shots is the thing that I don't really know, and can't really comment on, just because I find that they go straight rather than dip, and the dipping ones is what you want to beat the keeper, because keepers are better this year. I think it's a good time to end there. Just let me just recoup after that decimating. I think next time we'll be talking about passing. Roll safe, troll safe, stay woke.